Okay. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Trustee Cheney?
Here.
Trustee Foster?
Here.
Mayor Newhart?
Here.
Trustee Calora?
Here.
Trustee McKnight?
Here.
I want to start with a little bit of an introduction. As people go by Village Hall, they may notice these very large green bows on our columns, and it's not, St. Patty's Day continuum. It's actually to make awareness of Mental Health Awareness Month, and green ribbons is their kind of mark. And so on Saturday, there was a mental health awareness event on Railroad Green, organized by Warwick Cares and supported by the village, the other two villages, and the town, and as well as the community center. And I must say, it was just an extraordinary event. It's the second year, and it has just grown tremendously in just a year. I think it may have outgrown the park, but that we'll see that for next year. But I want to shout out to Judy Batista and the Warwick Cares volunteers and crew that did such a great job. It really brought together all these organizations that are steeped with the issue of mental health, and it was a moment where there was a lot of cross exchange. There was a recognition of some remarkable young men and women, heroes in their own way, and it was just a nice event. And it wasn't long, but it was powerful. And so again, I shout out to Judy and the gang for the work that they did, and thank you. I also think that it speaks volumes of our community, recognizing that this is an issue that is paramount and that we deal with on almost a daily basis, but it's something that must stay in the forefront, and it only gets better through dialogue and conversation and showing how we can all help each other. So with that, may I have a motion to accept the minutes of April 15th, 2024, work session and village board meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And a motion for authorization to pay all approved and audited claims in the amount of $396,913.72.
So moved.
Nope.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And we have a couple of public hearings this evening, and Raina, if you could read the public notice, I'd appreciate it.
Please take notice that the Village Board of the Village of Warwick will hold a public hearing on the 6th day of May 2024 at 7:30 p.m. at Village Hall, 77 Main Street, Warwick, New York, 10990, on a proposed local law number 4 of the year 2024, amending the Village Code of the Village of Warwick by repealing Chapter 9, Ethics Code of, and reenacting the same with revised provisions. The purpose of this local law is to promote the public health, safety, and welfare by amending the Village Code to revise the provisions of the Village Code of Ethics. A copy of the proposed local law is on file in the office of the Village Clerk and is available for inspection by interested persons during Village Clerk's business hours. And the proposed local law has also been posted on the Village's website, www.villageofwarwick.org. The Village Board will, at the above date, time, and place, hear all persons interested in the subject matter hereof. Persons may appear in person or by agent. All written communications addressed to the board must be received by the board at or prior to the public hearing.
Great. Thank you, Raina.
You're welcome.
Since we have very little audience, I just want to make one comment, and that's a thank you to Bill Lindbergh, who began this process, and then passed the baton on to us, and we took it, and we're finally at the finishing line. So that's a really great thing in terms of renewing and looking at public policy and recognizing that it always needs to be relooked at. Any comments from the board?
No, really? Oh, go
I
ahead.
mean, it's been around for a while,
Mhm.
so we've just kind of updated it and made a few changes to it. Clarifications mostly.
Yes.
So it's a good step to revisit our code every once in a while to make sure it still meets our needs. And I guess our next step is to find any candidates who would like to be a member of the Board of Ethics.
That's right.
So we're going to be filling those positions in short order.
Yes. And I'll just say, if anybody is interested, they can reach out to us, they can reach out and write a letter to the clerk's office. And that is Village Clerk, Raina Abramsons, and 77 Main Street, Box 369, Warwick, New York.
Yeah. And I just wanted to say that I appreciated working with the board on this effort, because everyone was really thoughtful, and we did spend a lot of time looking at the code and debating, like healthily debating the various elements of it, and I think that we ended up in a really good place.
Good. And I want to thank you for responding to the press so kindly and generously and, telling our story. So that was very good. Thank you, Tom. So may I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So move.
Second?
All in favor? Aye. And the next public hearing?
Please take notice that the Village Board of the Village of Warwick will hold a public hearing on the 6th day of May 2024 at 7:30 PM at Village Hall, 77 Main Street, Warwick, New York 10990, on a proposed local law number 5 of the year 2024, amending the Village of Warwick Village Code to add a provision to Chapter 135, Vehicles and Traffic, allowing amendment of Articles 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12, 13, 15, 16, and 17 by resolution. The purpose of this local law is to promote the public health, safety, and welfare by amending the village code to add a provision to Chapter 135, Vehicles and Traffic, allowing amendment of Articles 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12, 13, 15, 16, and 17 by resolution. A copy of the proposed local law is on file in the office of the village clerk and is available for inspection by interested persons during village clerk business hours. And the proposed local law has also been posted on the village's website, www.villageofwarwick.org. The village board will, at the above date and time and place, hear all persons interested in the subject matter hereof. Persons may appear in person or by agent. All written communications addressed to the board must be received by the board at or prior to the public hearing.
Any comments from the board?
I mean, it's a pretty straightforward
Yes.
thing. It's a significant change that's going to allow us to operate as a village, I think, more
Absolutely.
effectively and expediently. So it will allow us to make these changes within the code without needing the public hearing, filing with the Secretary of State, and waiting for that to get returned. So, these are generally fairly small issues, but sometimes impactful ones. I think we should be careful in the future to make sure that it gets the attention that it deserves, depending upon what it is. If it's a big thing, we should, make it more obvious of what we're doing.
Yeah, still have, we have the discretion, depending on the magnitude, to have kind of those public hearings, but still, right? It's
Well,
just that if there's an issue that's kind of health and safety oriented, we now have the freedom to act more quickly.
Yeah. It wouldn't be necessarily a public hearing per se, but we could hold a public information meeting. We could, really put it out there that we're seeking input for some of these changes.
Yeah, and to echo what Carly just said, when it comes to an issue of public safety, to be able to be expedient and not have to wait, for it to be reviewed by an administrative piece from New York State, when it's a local issue that has to be resolved immediately, it gives us that ability. So I think it's very good.
So as an example, I guess for members of the public, that when we were trying to improve our accessible parking spaces in Veterans Memorial Park, that required a very lengthy process, and it took us months to have our handicap parking situation improved. Whereas if we had been able to pass it by board resolution, we would have been able to move much more quickly and address the need more expeditiously rather than waiting months and months.
Yeah. Any other comments?
We still have the option of doing a public hearing, it's just not necessarily required.
A public session, yeah,
Public
public
session,
information
yeah.
session, yeah, yeah. And then we still could have done it more quickly, you know, we could have done like a public information session,
Sure.
but then we could have had it adopted and, you know.
Mary?
No.
So, with no additional comments, can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And we'll move on to correspondence. The first is a letter from Pat and Jeff Chiampa requesting the mayor's support for speed reduction on County Route 13, Kings Highway, between the former Kings School and Colonial Avenue from 50 miles per hour to 35 miles per hour. I felt that that they sent the letter to me, but I felt this was a board determination whether we wanted to support. I understand their effort, but I just wanted some input.
I agree, it does feel way too fast through there, and also then we have the transition to the village speed limit,
Right.
and so that's pretty abrupt. I always go slower, and people are, you know, not always
Yeah.
super excited about it, but
Me too.
it's a heavily trafficked area. And we also do need to, this is consistent with our request to the state to create a staged zone, speed zone on the state highways. So I think it is consistent with our other push.
I was just wondering if it shouldn't be staged. I mean, from the former King's School to the beginning of the village is quite a distance.
Yeah.
Well, it's mostly in the town, though.
And it is all
Well,
in
it's
the
all-
town.
Yeah, it's all the time.
Well, no, there's this last section going down to hit the stoplight.
Well, that already has a lower speed limit.
It's 25,
It's
which is
And that's entirely
confusing.
ours.
Yeah.
The speed
No,
limit
it's
there
30.
is still confusing, because
It's
it says,
30.
So
it's 30, but it says village speed limit 25,
Yeah.
and then it says 30.
35,
Right.
yeah.
Which-
And it
is
should all be,
confusing.
it should be 25, it should be consistent with the village speed
We'll be
limit.
able to do that at our next meeting.
Yeah,
Okay. First order of
Assuming-
First order of
business.
business.
Assuming we adopt the
Yeah.
First order of
change.
business.
Well, the town could consider stepping that down.
That's what I
Yeah.
believe.
Do you
but-
know if
It's,
they?
it's entirely in the hands of the state. So you make an
Yeah.
application through the county then sends that to the state. We're the villages and cities are the only ones that have the ability to control the speed limits within their boundaries. Towns have to go to the state DOT to get that approved. So what they're basically asking is gonna go to DOT. DOT is gonna look at it. So if you ask for 35 and DOT stages it and gives you 45 out further and 35 in closer to the village for a transition,
To 25,
that's a
yeah.
decision that they have to make. But I will caution that we've had for probably 2 years now a request before the state between the village line at the end of Galloway out to Bellevale, asking them to reduce that section to 45 miles an hour, which is consistent with Bellevale and a good transition instead of going from 55 to 30 or 35, and then the school zone on top of it. It's it's something that they're still, I guess, looking at. I'm sure they get a lot of requests, but it'd be nice to hear something pretty soon.
yeah, we should reiterate, I think, that
Yeah.
request with
And do
this.
do we know if the Sampas reached out to the town, or do they know their best bet is to reach out to the DOT?
I haven't spoken to them, so I
Okay.
don't know.
Okay.
I think they probably understand
Yeah,
the
I'm
process,
sure
and
they
they're just
do.
looking for
Which I
support
appreciate a
from
lot, yes.
others to enhance their request.
Yeah.
I mean, there are multiple neighborhoods in that area. We also have those doctor offices. There's many different entries onto the road, and pulling out in that
of
area is
Town Hall,
nerve-wracking.
Making a left is so.
And I've driven it on my scooter, and there's no shoulder.
Oh, my goodness, wow.
Yeah, I wanted to see what it was like.
Oh, boy.
Felt
Yeah.
pretty dangerous, and I'm not going to do it again.
Good.
Good. Thanks
So
for doing
if
that.
there's a consensus, I think that then it shouldn't be just from the mayor, it should be from the entire board. I think that would make
Okay.
more sense. Does the
I mean,
board-
you could write the letter and say on behalf of the board.
That's what
Yeah.
that's what I'm asking, so. okay.
Yes.
Very good. And the second, under correspondence, is a letter of resignation from part-time building inspector Anthony Pasculo. Tony, as we know him, was a wonderful building inspector, part-time building inspector for us for almost a year and some, and is moving on to become a full-time building inspector for the town. So congratulations, and we wish you well. And which also means that we have a position open. So publicly, if anybody has experience or is interested in that type of work, please notify us. And then we have a letter from Robert Krahulik regarding Warwick Commercial Properties LLC and the parcels located on Galloway Road. And Barry, could you kind of illuminate on that just a little bit? Like,
It's a long story. Chronologically, as well. So, two properties, known as 2 and 4 Overlook. 2 Overlook has pretty much been developed, but the implementation of all the planning is not complete. And then 4 Overlook is a property that is in the residential zone that is being occupied at this point. The property's been improved. It's being occupied at this point as a commercial building. So one of the things that the applicant has to do is come before the village board and present to us an application for a change of zoning for that parcel.
so this letter actually was to our building inspector, and this is sort of in his court at this point, correct?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Well, it's going to be in our court pretty
Eventually, yeah.
hopefully pretty soon. I mean, it's
Okay.
been dragging for quite a while.
Okay. Very good. I have to scroll back to where I was. So that is it under correspondence this evening. We'll move, wait, we have discussion. And that is the Greenwood Lake Centennial and the possibility of the Village of Warwick creating a wonderful float. Mary, do you want to lead that?
Yeah, so first I just want to say that I know we have a lot going on. We have a lot of serious stuff on our plates. But this is something, as liaison to public outreach, I think it's worth considering supporting Greenwood Lake and their centennial celebration. And I had an opportunity, they called me when they started thinking about planning all their events based on what we did for our sesquicentennial. So it was really fun to help them and kind of set them up. And so they're doing something very similar to what we did in 2017. They're having a full day of activities on August 17th. They're opening a time capsule, they're having the parade, and that's going to be followed by a lot of activities in the village of Greenwood Lake. So there are some just your basic kind of safety regulations. Acceptable Floats must be sturdy. You must supply your own float vehicle. Float vehicle choices: boat, pontoon on a trailer, pickup truck, trailer pulled by a truck. Floats with standing riders must have rails or sides. Spotters are encouraged. Spotters must be 18 years or older. Your pretty standard stuff. I thought the registration date was earlier, but it looks like they bumped it to June, so we still have a little more time to think about this. But I just wanted to know your thoughts, and I don't know anyone who has a flatbed or a boat. If you have any input on thoughts
Well,
on that.
I think we can muster up a flatbed at our DPW garage of some sort.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, and then I guess we'll have to think of a theme and decorations.
No, I think we have to kind of just, in a visual way, describe the village of Warwick and it being a historic center,
Okay,
you know.
the Queen Village.
The
That's
Queen
always
Village,
a nice
yes.
thing
Could we
to
have,
call ourselves.
do you know if the schools are gonna be doing a float? Is
It's
there?
hard to get the schools to participate in anything in August.
In August.
I'm wondering, like, I'm wondering if the village should do it alone or if we should do it in collaboration with, like,
I
like
think,
other village.
Yeah, or I think we
or-
can invite village residents, like, to march behind us or
Mhm.
something.
Yeah, I was thinking like, should
Yeah.
it be something that just like the village board does, or is it something that like the village of Warwick
Yeah.
does a float?
I think we should just put up. We would like Stricky though, because they have such a short parade route before it starts just like going into itself.
But how, yeah, I'm just, and also like how we put it together, right? Like, is it something that we would do, we would invite people to come work on the float, or is it something that we would do?
Logistically, I think it might be easier to drive over there and then decorate it. I just imagine things flying off.
It could be like a sign up, like if folks
Yeah.
wanted
How about
to be
a committee
involved.
to do work on the design and?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
that
I
what
think
you were
we
getting
could
at?
Yeah, I wasn't, but that's actually much better.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
I think so.
I think we could definitely
Yeah.
open
Much more.
it to the staff and the other boards, and I think
Well, even
We
the
have a lot
public
of
at large, I
people.
mean.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
That
Was,
have, you know, some good
Yeah.
artistic and creativity.
Yes, I think we should engage the arts especially because we do so many things that are creative and artistic. So maybe we should speak to Melissa Shaw Smith and Wickham Works and
is there going to be any music in the parade?
yeah, they have bands.
Okay.
I forget how many divisions they have. It's a pretty big parade.
This is fun.
yeah, it'll be
Yeah.
fun.
And I'm happy to support them.
I like the idea of a committee because I was starting to.
Yeah, we could see that actually with fireworks.
Well,
I think though, if we could do something solid and go over the mountain with it, mostly accomplished,
wow.
would be better
That's
than.
brave.
Well,
we would
it's-
have to have an escort, I think.
yeah, well, we'll have a police escort. We'll talk to Chief Rader.
Very slow.
Yeah, very slow.
25 miles an
We'll go
hour.
the speed limit that it's supposed to be.
That we'd like it to
That
be.
we'd like
Yeah.
it to be, exactly.
Is anybody not in favor of doing the float?
Good.
I think we're all in.
We're all in. Sounds good.
Okay.
So how will it be coordinated?
I will file. I'll register us, and then I can put out a message to village staff and everyone and the boards, and just do an open call if you want to join the committee.
That would be great.
Right, I can do that.
I think you'll get some takers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hope so.
I might not be able to join the committee, but I can take instructions.
I
I can be labor.
Yeah,
Okay.
Great.
Thank you.
thank you, Mary.
Sounds like
Thanks
fun.
for bringing it to our attention.
Thanks for doing that.
Yeah, of course.
And we have public comment, but no public. So we'll move on to motions.
Number 1, resolution adopting Village of Warwick Local Law Number 5 of 2024, Whereas the village board has before it a proposed local law number 5 of the year 2024 entitled "A Local Law Amending the Village of Warwick Village Code to Add Provisions to Chapter 135 Vehicles and Traffic, allowing amendment of Articles 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12, 13, 15, 16, and 17 by resolution. And whereas the following due notice, the village board held a public hearing on the proposed local law. And whereas the proposed local law constitutes a type A action under seeker, now therefore be it resolved as follows, that the village board does hereby adopt the proposed local law, and 2, that the said local law shall be effective upon filing with the Secretary of State in Albany as required by applicable law.
We have a second?
Second.
Okay.
Trustee Cheney?
Yes.
Trustee Foster?
Yes.
Trustee McKnight?
Yes.
Trustee Flora?
Yes.
Mayor Newhart?
Yes.
Motion number 2. Fiscal year 2025 Orange Urban County Consortium Community Development Program Governing Body Authorizing Resolution. Sidewalks on both sides of Wheeler Avenue between Route 94 Main Street and the intersection of Cherry Street and Spring Street. The Village of Warwick is hereby submitting its application for consideration under the FY 2025 Orange Urban County Consortium Community Development Program, and the chief elected official or executive officer is hereby authorized to submit this application for sidewalks on both sides of Wheeler Avenue between Route 94 Main Street and the intersection of Cherry Street and Spring Street as described in the proposal. Input from citizens and groups has been received and considered, and an application has been prepared which addresses their community concerns. They further certify that they have read and understood the Orange County Consortium Community Development Guidelines for the FY 2025 program year and have met all of its applicable requirements, and that the information contained in the application is accurate and true to the best of their knowledge. If awarded CDBG funds, the municipality shall implement the activities in a manner to ensure compliance with all applicable federal, state, and local laws and regulations.
Second discussion.
Sure.
Would this be timed with the bridge replacement?
If not, I mean, if we do get the bridge, yes. If we, go ahead, Barry, I'll let you.
I mean, it can come about independently. So if we do get the bridge, I think that, we'll have 2 different contractors working on 2 different things, but I think it's a pretty
So they won't
clear
happen at the same time.
stop where on each side of the bridge.
Okay.
So,
Yep.
Okay.
I hope we get that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Trustee Cheney?
yes.
Trustee Foster?
Yes.
Trustee McKnight?
Yes.
Trustee Calora?
Yeah.
Sorry. Mayor Newhart?
Yes.
I was gonna combine mayor and
Motion to approve payment number 1 in the amount of $47,828.70 to TAM Enterprises, Inc. for the Pole Barn DPW project for work including the submittal of bond and insurance information and the required deposit necessary to commence the fabrication of the building structure per the recommendation of village engineer Keith Woodruff. Funds are appropriated in Village Code A 1640.2350.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Just a quick question on that. When is the timing for their construction for the pole barn?
It's going to be probably 2 to 3 months before it gets fabricated. So I think we're looking in the fall
Fall.
sometime.
DPW is happy about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They'd probably like it sooner, but
Yeah.
They've done all the prep work for it, which is great, so that's good.
okay. Number 4, and I've got some additions to it when I read it. So, motion to accept the bid from Jory Excavating Inc. in the amount of $179,900 for the South Street Sidewalk ADA Improvements Phase 3 project, CDBG Federal Contract Number B-23-UC-36-0105, as per the recommendation of Village Engineer Keith Woodruff, and to authorize the mayor to enter into a contract.
Second discussion?
Sure.
Will you just share with the audience the location of the improvements on South
Sure,
Street?
it's on the west side of South Street from 3rd Street to Lawrence Avenue. So it's going to connect the two sections, the one at Galloway to Lawrence, and the one from 2nd to 3rd that were done this past year. So it's going to connect those.
It's a completion of many years of sidewalk replacement along that entire stretch. Connecting the downtown village to Stanley Deming Park and beyond. So we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to accept the bid from Slack Chemical for the delivery of PaCl and sodium permanganate liquid 20%, as per the recommendation of H2O Innovation Senior Area Manager Keith Herbert. Contract period will be June 1st, 2024 to May 31st, 2025.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to accept the bid from Amorex Chemical Company for the delivery of sodium hypochlorite liquid 12.5%, sodium hydroxide caustic beads, sodium hydroxide liquid caustic 25%, and sodium bisulfite 38%, as per the recommendation of H2O Innovation Senior Area Manager Keith Herbert. The contract period will be June 1st, 2024 to May 31st, 2025.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye. Motion to accept the bid from Coin Chemical for the delivery of citric acid, liquid 50%, blended orthophosphate, and potassium permanganate as per the recommendation of H2O Innovation Senior Area Manager Keith Herbert. The contract period will be June 1st, 2024 to May 31st, 2025.
Second?
Okay. All in favor?
Aye. Motion to accept the quote from Clean Waters, Inc. for the delivery of Charge Pack 282 dewatering polymer as per the recommendation of H2O Innovation Senior Area Manager Keith Herbert. Contract period will be June 1st, 2024 to May 31st, 2025.
Second?
Just a point of clarification on
Okay.
this. We received no bids for this when we went out to bid for all the chemicals. And apparently Clean Waters wasn't notified. They were the vendor that provided for the previous year. They were not notified that we were doing the bid. So I asked Keith to go out and get them to provide us with a quote for the year. And they did, and the price we're going to pay this year is the same as what we paid last year.
Good. Okay, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to accept the refuse bid from Sunny Zito Sanitation in the amount of $264 per pull and $130 per ton per 30-yard roll-off box for refuse at the central garage. No charge per 30-yard roll-off box for metal at the central garage, with the village receiving a rebate of $85 per gross ton, as per the recommendation of DPW Supervisor Mike Moser. The contract period will be June 1st, 2024 to May 31st, 2025.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye. Motion to accept the refuse bid from County Waste and Recycling Services, Inc. in the amount of $30 per pickup per 2 cubic yard container for the River Street Sewer Plant, as per the recommendation of DPW Supervisor Mike Moser. The contract period will be June 1st, 2024 to May 31st, 2025.
Okay.
Second?
All in favor? Aye.
Motion to accept the bid from Joseph Warren Electrical LLC for on-call electrical services for the Village of Warwick for the period of June 1st, 2024 to May 31st, 2026, as per the recommendation of DPW Supervisor Mike Moser.
Second?
Discussion?
Yes.
Why is that 2 years? Instead of
It's
one?
typically the way, we do it, we're able to, it'll, avoid having to do this again every year. And they find that there's, not that much volatility in their hourly rates. So they're able to do that for a 2-year period, whereas like the chemicals, which are a 1-year period, there's a good deal more volatility in providing a commodity as opposed to a service.
What's the nature of the work Mr. Warren has done for the village in the past 2 years?
Pretty much anything and everything.
Anything else? No? So we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Nay.
Motion to accept the bid from JM Electrical and Sons for on-call electrical services for the Village of Warwick for the period June 1st, 2024 to May 31st, 2026, as per the recommendation of DPW Supervisor Mike Moser.
Second.
Okay. Any comments?
So just, I guess just a clarification, this is the second bid for electrical services. And the DPW sees benefit in having 2 electrical service providers to call on. It gives them some latitude relative to response time that might be needed. Not everybody's able to jump on things immediately, and also the type of work. So we think that by doing this, we'll be able to better assign work to either one of these 2 companies.
'Cause I have observed in the past that response times have been a challenge.
Yes.
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 And that's exactly why we are having 2 services at our disposal. So,
Keep both of them on their toes.
right. Okay. Any other comments? We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to accept the bid from Joe Lombardo Plumbing and Heating of Rockland, Inc. for on-call plumbing HVAC services for the Village of Warwick for the period of June 1st, 2024 to May 31st, 2026, as per the recommendation of DPW Supervisor Mike Moser.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Motion to accept the bid from Peak Power Systems for the generator maintenance service of village-owned generators for the period of June 1st, 2024 to May 31st, 2027, as per the recommendation of DPW Supervisor Mike Moser.
Second.
Discussion, are these the generators for the water pumps?
We have generator here in this building, we have a generator at DPW, and there are also generators at each of the treatment plants, as well as most of the pump stations.
Any other questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to grant permission to Village of Warwick employee Dylan Gerstner to carry over 5 vacation days.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Motion to grant permission to Park Avenue Elementary to hold a first grade class picnic at Stanley Deming Park on Wednesday, June 12, 2024, from 11:30 a.m. to 2:45 p.m. with a rain date on Tuesday, June 18th. Request includes use of restrooms, completed park permit, and proof of insurance have been received.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sorry, something's wrong with my thing. Motion to grant permission to Park Avenue Elementary to hold a kindergarten class picnic in Stanley Deming Park on Wednesday, June 5th, 2024, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. with a rain date of Thursday, June 6th, 2024. Request includes use of restrooms, completed park permit, and proof of insurance have been received.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Motion to grant permission to Christ Church to use the baseball field at Stanley Deming Park for a kickball game on Thursday, June 6, 2024, from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Completed park permit, proof of insurance, and security deposit have been received.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to grant permission to Monroe Presbyterian Preschool to hold an end-of-year celebration at Stanley Deming Park on Wednesday, May 29th, 2024, between 9:30 a.m. and 12:30 p.m. Request includes use of restrooms, completed park permit, proof of insurance, and security deposit have been received.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye. Motion to grant permission to the American Legion Township Post 214 to hold a Memorial Day parade and to use the area near Veterans Memorial Park Firemen's Monument located in Memorial Park on Monday, May 27th, 2024, between the hours of 10:30 a.m. and 2 p.m. The parade will step off at approximately 11 a.m. with lineup beginning at 10 a.m. on Main Street in front of Village Hall, as per their letter dated April 2nd, 2024. The parade route will be as follows: Main Street in front of Village Hall, Oakland Avenue to the Warwick Cemetery, Galloway Road to the St. Stephen's Cemetery, Forester Avenue to the Veterans Memorial Park Firemen's Monument. Completed park permit, proof of insurance, and security deposit, as well as Town of Warwick Police Department approval have been received.
Second.
Okay. All in favor? Aye.
Resolution amending schedule of fees to change summer recreation fees. Whereas Village of Warwick Code 64-1 provides that a comprehensive schedule of fees, including the summer recreation fees, be adopted by the village board. And whereas in order to amend the village's schedule of fees to change the summer recreation fees, it is necessary for the village board to adopt a resolution. And now therefore be it resolved that the village's schedule of fees is hereby amended as follows. In the schedule of fees under heading Summer Recreation, the following fees shall be deleted. Category, Summer Recreation, subcategory Park Program, type of fee per registration for the first child, amount $30. Second field to be deleted. Category, Summer Recreation, subcategory Park Program, type of fee additional siblings, amount $20. And in the schedule of fees under heading Summer Recreation, the following fees shall be added. Category, Summer Recreation, subcategory Park Program, type of fee, registration fee per week for the first child, amount $30. Category, Summer Recreation, subcategory Park Program, type of fee, registration fee per week for additional siblings, amount $20.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay.
Discussion? please.
Discussion, of course.
So I have a couple reactions to this. And I do have experience with this. I have sent my children in the past to this. Looking at it, before it's always been a 6-week program. Is that correct?
Correct.
And I mean, $30 for a child for 6 weeks is a steal, no matter how you look at it. The one consideration though is if it's now $30 per week, that's a 6x increase.
If a child attends all 6 weeks, yeah.
If the child attends all 6 weeks, and there may be situations with working parents where a child might need to go. So I think that's $30 a week to watch your kid for a couple hours per day. I mean, that's still, you can't find that anywhere else. But still, it's such a large increase from what it was in the past. I think it might be a little too steep. Maybe we get to that over time. But I just think it's a significant jump on a per week basis.
There are still mechanisms for considerations for income. So if it's a hardship, I believe that there's still mechanisms around that, as it has been
So
in the past.
is that worked out?
Well, I think it will be more of an issue with this payments, this new payment schedule, but it's there. We have a form, and Ron is very aware of that. I think that it's critical because we want it to be open and accessible to all, and there will be families that can't, shoulder
And
this cost.
what's the process? Because I know sign up is extremely competitive. So
Right.
is there time to fill out the process and then be able to sign up at the discounted price, or what does that look like
I don't know completely, but I believe that, I think we're asking people to reach out earlier beforehand.
Okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong, part of the impetus for this was that with just the 1 6-week sign up, that there would be gaps where
Yeah.
there were
So you could.
kids that weren't showing up. And at the same time, we had a wait list for kids who didn't make it into the program. So the purpose initially, from my point of view, was, okay, we get more kids involved in the program. It'll allow us to do that by doing it on a weekly basis, where some can opt in and opt out, given how they decide to sign up for the season, which I think is a great thing. I also share the concern about the significant increase in cost, and yeah, it's a deal at $30 and $20, but for the whole 6 weeks. But maybe if we were at $20 a week and $15 a week for the sibling, or 15 and 10, that it would, I think, Tom, get to your point of, if we're going to get here, let's not do it all at once. Let's do it gradually.
Yeah.
We also did consider that they're adding more counselors
Counselors, huh.
this year to enable more folks to register. But these rates were the ones that we had discussed previously when we were working through the budgeting process, and we had had discussions previously about how we would be adjusting the rates. So none of these rates should be a surprise to the board, though do recognize the concerns that the board is raising at this time.
And the cost of the other programs remain the same?
Yes. And I'll mention now that we are partnering with the town of Warwick with their swimming program, which is at Mountain Lake Park. We've had many issues with our program because we've relied on the pool at the school. And year after year, they would, depending upon what was happening, there was construction, or the pool had to be closed for renovations. So we weren't able to consistently offer that program. But we've spoken with the supervisor and Sam Walter, who is the head of the recreation at Mountain Lake, and they are more than willing to open it up to any village resident. And so we're merging these programs. It's a little bit more expensive than what we would have offered, but it will be consistent. And we had a problem also getting lifeguards, so that they have a good crew of lifeguards there. So
And when is sign up for rec programs?
May 11th.
May 11th. That's this Saturday. Thank you.
Yeah, the sign up has been moved to Saturday.
right.
And just to remind our viewers, you have to be registered. Your child has to be registered in the website before sign up. Correct.
And that's available now to register
All the
the
instructions
children?
are on our
Yeah,
website.
okay.
So I guess the question is really about modulation, whether this is too great of an impact or a jump at this time. And weighed with, we have greater expenses with more counselors and also, the cost of the camp, just in terms of supplies and materials, has grown too over time.
Of course, I don't think that it's an unreasonable cost, especially when compared to any other opportunities that anyone might have for summer camp. It's significantly lower. One concern I do have is if sign up is May 11th and we're just changing it now.
Yeah.
Right.
It has been discussed at multiple board meetings, but recognizing that a lot of folks would not necessarily have observed prior board meetings. We did, however, when we were approving the budgetary process, personally, when I was working through that process as a board member, it was with the understanding that we would be addressing the shift in fee. So I'm not opposed to changing the fee, especially given that there is a mechanism available for those that would see it as a hardship. and it's still extremely, extremely affordable. I think
So
it
again,
works out
I'm
to-
sorry, what is that hardship application process? What does that look like?
It's a form. It's part of our recreation.
Okay.
But is it part of the sign up, or do you have to sign up and pay and then get a reimbursement?
Yeah, I think the way it's going to have to work in discussing it with Sadie is, to be fair for registration, is that everyone will have to sign up and everyone will have to pay, and then a hardship form would have to be submitted, reviewed by, all those details have to be figured out, and then the village would reimburse that individual. Otherwise, you'd be asking, I guess, the recreation department to hold aside a certain number of applications, which I think causes a problem when the program's so popular. So it might be that everyone signs up and then we reimburse.
Could we add the form to the website?
Yes, I think it needs to be revised.
The challenge I see with that is that if we were to reimburse, it would have to be done through a motion, and I wouldn't want to publicly disclose who's
Yeah,
doing that.
yeah, absolutely. Well, I think we're gonna have to, with that understanding, figure that out. I mean, I don't, and we'll have to talk to Sadie about the best method.
Or the
I mean, this
village-
is a private matter between the village and a family, and,
Or the village attorney, maybe there is a way to do that.
Yes.
Would just be whomever is going to be reviewing the hardship form.
right,
I would imagine it would be multiple people, and then if they approve it, then it would be able to be reimbursed through a voucher and maybe not a motion, but we could talk to Steve about it.
right.
Is the form available in other languages on the website?
I don't think so.
No, not yet.
Probably not, 'cause
They
it's
did
a
say that they, in the process of, I don't know whether that's been successful though, they were going to update the website so that it was,
PDFs and forms cannot be translated on the
Okay.
website.
Okay. We'll have to talk to Denise.
Oh, maybe she can help us.
Yes, yes, but I do think though that the form is very basic and it needs some structure to it.
Yeah.
And some requirements outlining what would qualify. So-
And with the sign up in however many days, it's pretty,
I can say though, I mean, just from being on the ground and hearing all the phone calls, the day of registration, the days following registration, was the frustration with the park program, for sure. And people signing up for the whole week and then knowing that they weren't, the whole summer, and then knowing that they weren't going. So there definitely was a need, a desire from residents to make it weekly.
and do we know whether that adjustment has already taken place in the website to allow people to sign up per week?
Yes, Ron has it set up now the way that, the way is if the motion was approved.
Mm-hmm. So in any case, there has to be a fee associated by week.
right.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll take a shot. I'd like to make a motion to amend this motion for the fees that are being added, and for registration fee per week for the first child, $20, and for the second child, $15.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion on that? All in favor?
Well, is the,
Oh, yeah,
so
go
the
ahead.
purpose of that modification is just so that it's stepping up instead of
Yeah.
doing that full $30 amount?
Yeah, I think that it's sticker shock, especially for ones who may want to be candidates for getting some sort of a scholarship to attend. Again, I mean, I don't have any problem with the bargain that it is, but to basically go from $30
A
a
season.
season to, if you're in it for all 6 weeks, $180.
It's a big jump.
For a lot, not for some, it's not going to be a big deal, but For others, it could be a very significant deal. And then I think we see how it goes and decide on whether we have to change it again next year.
It's reasonable.
Thank you, Barry.
Yeah, I
Thank
think so.
you.
Yeah.
Very good job. And so we have a motion before us. Do you
I
want
do
any-
think we should, so I understand we're moving forward with this
Yeah.
motion. We should probably circle back with Sadie and see the extent to which this might affect,
Of course.
like, our budgetary projections.
Yep.
So, I mean, perhaps this might have been different if we had passed the resolution earlier and had time to advertise and communicate.
Yeah, as
People
this,
would-
as the season was
yeah.
in beginning and unfolding, we realized suddenly, oh my goodness, this is the language, in our fee schedule, and this is not what we had talked about. So,
Right.
so that was why it exists now. So, okay. So, well, the one good thing is it also empowers more people to participate, which means actually more revenue, so that may offset it, and we will find that out. We'll talk to Sadie. We have a second. All in favor?
I think it's a
It's a
vote.
roll call.
Oh,
It's
it's a roll call vote.
Well, I guess we gotta vote on the amendment first.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So sorry.
Vote to amend,
Vote
Okay.
to amend,
Second.
Aye.
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 okay, and then
And
the
then-
amended resolution.
Okay. All right, so trustee Cheney?
Yes,
Trustee Foster?
Yes.
Trustee McKnight?
Yes.
Trustee Flora?
Yes.
Mayor Newhart?
yes.
Okay, resolution adopting Village of Warwick Local Law Number 4 of 2024. Whereas the Village Board has before it a proposed local law entitled A Local Law Amending the Village Code of the Village of Warwick by repealing Chapter 9 Ethics Code of and reenacting the same with revised provisions. And whereas following due notice, the Village Board held a public hearing on the proposed local law, and whereas the proposed local law constitutes a Type 2 action under SECRA. Now therefore be it resolved as follows. 1. That the Village Board hereby adopts the said local law, and 2. That the local law shall be effective upon filing in the office of the Secretary of State in Albany as required by applicable law.
Okay, thank you.
Second?
Okay, Trustee Cheney?
yes.
Trustee Foster?
Yes.
Trustee McKnight?
Yes.
Trustee Calora?
Yes.
Mayor Newhart? That was a Steve, not me. Just saying.
Just for the world to know, it says
Yeah.
Trustee Lindberg.
I'm not insulted at all.
No, you shouldn't be.
Actually very happy.
It's very happy.
in spirit.
It's very
Yeah.
sweet, actually. And yes.
Motion to grant permission to village employee Denise Bolnez to attend a one-day educational course entitled Employer Education Seminar from New York State Retirement System Employer Education Unit on Thursday, May 30th, 2024, from 9 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. at Ulcer BOCES. The course is free to attend over time for hours worked, plus travel time and mileage reimbursement to apply.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the budget modification request as per the village's treasurer's memo dated May 1st, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Tom?
Motion to advertise for the position of part-time Assistant Building Inspector 3.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to return the planning board escrow balance of $3,064.55 to Western Edition LLC for site plan approval at 63 Wheeler Avenue. All invoices have been paid as per emails from prior village engineer Dave Getz and prior planning board attorney Robert Dickover.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution. The Board of Trustees of the Village of Warwick support for the New York State Assembly and Senate to pass a strong packaging reduction and recycling infrastructure act, A.5322-A/S.4246-A, and expand the state's bottle bill, A.6353/S.237-B. Whereas packaging makes up approximately 40% of the waste in New York State, and whereas managing packaging waste costs New York taxpayers hundreds of millions of dollars annually. And whereas some packaging is not recyclable and reusable and refillable packaging systems are not readily available. And whereas plastic causes serious pollution, including litter and use of toxic chemicals. And whereas companies that produce packaging should help bear the costs of packaging waste, not just the taxpayers. And whereas enacting the Packaging Reduction and Recycling Infrastructure Act, as drafted in the New York Assembly A.5322-A and the New York State Senate S.4246-A, would reduce waste, increase recycling rates, create jobs, reduce toxicity in products, provide millions of dollars in savings for local governments and taxpayers, and lower greenhouse gas emissions. And whereas the Packaging Reduction and Recycling Infrastructure Act should work in tandem with and supplement New York State's Returnable Container Act, and whereas New York's Returnable Container Act should be modernized to reflect an expanded market of beverages, and the deposit of beverage containers should be increased to 10 cents. Be it resolved that the Village of Warwick urges the New York State Legislature to pass and Governor Kathy Hochul to sign into law a strong and effective Packaging Reduction and Recycling Infrastructure Act A5322-A/S4246-A and an expanded and modernized bottle bill A.6353/S.237-B, and resolve further that the Village of Warwick shall forward copies of this resolution to Governor Kathy Hochul, the New York State Assembly Speaker and New York State Senate Majority Leader, the local state assembly member, and local state senator, and all others deemed necessary and proper.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Just a little bit of discussion. So is this point worthy? Do we get points for this, for the climate?
I don't think so,
No.
because it's just us.
Just
Yeah,
wondering.
good
I mean,
question. I
that'd
mean-
be additional motivation, but certainly. I mean, I get it. I understand it. It's good. It's necessary. Packaging is, as it points out, a major problem for us, and anything we can do to help that along is important. To some degree, this is going to level the playing field for those businesses who are conscious of limiting the amount of packaging that they have. But in the end, it's going to be an added cost to the consumer. If people have to spend more to do the packaging to avoid paying the taxes or the whatever the fees and assessments are on them, it's going to end up a burden to the consumer. And probably even more of an issue for me is that we have to create a bureaucracy to do this. So the money that they're collecting not only goes to improving the packaging, but however many employees that the program would require. The state, I don't think, does a very good job at telling us what legislation costs. I know we're further separated from the federal government, but there's a congressional budget office that basically looks at a bill and says, this is what it's going to cost you, and this is why it's going to cost you this. So I just wanted to point those things out. I'm in favor of it, but there are some drawbacks.
Thank you.
Okay.
How did this come about? This.
It's been years in the making. I sit on an environmental committee for NICOM, New York Council of Mayors, and this has been one of the advocacy points. In other states, these bottle bills are much more robust, and in New York State, it's always been very depressed in terms of how much is paid and how we deal with our packaging. In essence, too, though, the Packaging Reduction and Recycling Infrastructure Act, it puts the onus on the people that make the product, and so I think that's really critical, because if they're going to make, wasteful product, then they should pay. They should be responsible.
Well, and it's not just a waste issue, though. I think in many ways it's kind of a consumer protections thing, because the public health implications and the environmental implications of all of this plastic packaging are significant, and there's a huge amount of expenditure going toward trying to clean up the microplastics and, so.
Or just our roadways, no. So, we have a second?
Trustee Cheney?
Yes.
Trustee Foster?
Yes.
Trustee McKnight?
Yes.
Trustee Kolara?
Yes.
Mayor Newhart?
Yes.
I have a motion to approve payment to Planning Board Secretary Kristen Bielowski for attendance at the Orange County Municipal Planning Federation Spring and 2024 Planning and Land Use course that took place on Monday, April 29th, 2024 from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the SUNY Orange Middletown campus. Registration for this event was free. Payment to include 3 hours of time worked, including travel time, mileage reimbursement per the Village of Warwick Employee Manual.
Okay,
Second.
okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then we have some addendums. And
The number of addendums.
a number of addendums. Well,
Just go to our environmental liaison.
well, I don't know,
or-
this is kind of park.
Oh, parks, okay.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Resolution approving a contract, for the purchase of certain real property located on Robin Bray Drive, whereas the Village Board of the Village of Warwick is undertaking to purchase certain real property located on Robin Bray Drive in the Village of Warwick, SBL 205-1-31.2, for use in an infrastructure improvement, open space, and related purposes, and whereas the Village Board has before it a proposed contract for the purpose and sale of said property, and whereas the terms and provisions of said contract are acceptable to the Village Board. Now therefore be it resolved as follows, that the Village Board hereby approves said contract, and that the mayor is authorized to execute the contract and all documents necessary for recording title and carrying out the terms and provisions thereof.
Second.
All in favor? Oh, I'm sorry, it's roll call.
Roll call.
Trustee Cheney?
Yes.
Trustee Foster?
Yes.
Trustee McKnight?
Yes.
Trustee Kolara?
Yes.
Mayor Newhart?
Yes.
Resolution approving the grant of a conservation easement on certain real property being purchased by the village. Whereas the Village Board of the Village of Warwick is acquiring certain real property located on Robin Bray Drive, I can't say that for some reason, in the Village of Warwick, SBL 205-1-32.2, and whereas the town of Warwick is providing funds to assist in said purchase, in return for which the village will be providing a conservation easement on the property to the town, and whereas a draft conservation for the said purpose has been prepared, a copy of which is annexed hereto. Now therefore be it resolved as follows, that the village board hereby approves the said conservation easement, and hereby offers the same for dedication to the town of Warwick, and that the mayor is authorized to execute said conservation easement and all documents necessary for recording title and carrying out the terms and provisions thereof.
Second.
And just a quick note for members of the public, this is the property that is adjacent to Wickham Woodlands on Robin Bray.
Lewis
Lewis.
Woodlands.
Lewis.
The Lewis Woodlands, why do I keep saying Wickham Woodlands? Yeah, on Lewis Woodlands.
And just, I guess, a point of correction, being one who lives on Park Way, it's just Robin Bray, there's no drive. So,
That's true,
Oh,
that's
okay.
true. It's just Robin Bray.
Thank you.
Which begs the
That goes
question,
for
what
the
is a
previous
bray? Okay, we-
So-
Mayor,
roll
is it
call.
worth spending a minute to mention this property and the
sure. of
the
course-
value to the village?
Of course it is. This property is a very interesting property. It is at the end of Robin Bray. It is adjacent and connected to the Lewis Woodlands. And it is part of a stream corridor, a very sensitive environmental piece of our community. It's not an extremely buildable lot, and it was on the market for many years, and the price was reduced, and we reached out to the owner and requested that to potentially purchase it, but would they gift a portion of it? And they are actually gifting half of the requested price for the property. We then went to the town and asked the town if they would use PDR funds for this property, to purchase the property. And that's why there's an easement agreement with the town. We're actually using PDR monies and in part a gift to actually purchase a really wonderful, a very sensitive piece of property for the taxpayers of the Village of Warwick. I think it's a real win.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's partial wetlands
It's partial
It is
wetlands. It's-
today.
Yes,
and adjacent to the park.
adjacent to the park.
So that's great.
Witch's Creek, as it's known, flows right
Favorite.
through the center of it. And it would be a pity for anyone to build on it. So we're grateful that we're able to protect it.
Formerly part of the Fowler estate, which was a big estate
Yes.
back in the day.
Mayor, I know you've been working on this for the better part of a year, so thank you for all
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you
all that
very
you've done
much.
there.
Thank you very much. And I want to give credit to Mr. Cheney for having the bright idea of going to the town and
Yeah.
requesting use of their PDR funding. So, thank you, Barry.
Thank you.
So,
Did we vote?
I think we're
It's
ready.
a roll call, yeah, we're ready.
Trustee Cheney?
Yes.
Trustee Foster?
Yes.
Trustee McKnight?
Yes.
Trustee Flora?
Yes.
Mayor Newhart?
Yes.
I guess the next one's probably mine.
Oh, it's, yep, sure. Parkland fees.
Well, it's actually the
Planning
project,
stuff.
I
Yep,
guess.
yep.
Yeah.
A resolution approving payment of parkland fees on 75 Forester Avenue real property subdivision. Whereas the Village of Warwick Planning Board granted final approval for a residential subdivision located at 75 Forester Avenue, and whereas one of the conditions of the subdivision approval was the payment of parkland fees totaling $120,000, and whereas a building permit was issued for the development without receipt of the payment of the parkland fees. And whereas the property owners now propose to make payment of the outstanding parkland fees by payment of $60,000 prior to issuance of a temporary certificate of occupancy, followed by 4 monthly payments of $15,000. Now therefore be it resolved as follows, that the village board hereby approves the said proposal for payment of the outstanding parkland fees subject to provision of an agreement or note memorializing the terms thereof in a form acceptable to the village attorney to be signed prior to issuing a temporary certificate of occupancy, and 2, that the mayor is authorized to execute the said note or agreement and all documents necessary for carrying out the terms and provisions thereof.
Second. Thank you for working that out,
Yes, thank you.
Barry.
Now, thanks for your input. We did discuss it in executive session.
Yes.
Okay. Trustee Cheney?
Yes.
Trustee Foster?
Yes.
Trustee McKnight?
Yes.
Trustee Flora?
Yes.
Mayor Newhart?
Yes.
Resolution amending schedule of fees for the addition of planning board escrow fees. Whereas Village of Warwick Code 64-1 provides that a comprehensive schedule of fees, including planning board fees, be approved by the village board. And whereas in order to amend the village's schedule of fees and to add a planning board application base escrow fee for change of use site plan waiver applications, it is necessary for the village board to adopt the resolution. Now therefore be it resolved that the village's schedule of fees is hereby amended as follows. In the schedule of fees, under heading Planning Board Application Fees, the following fee shall be added. Category, Planning Board Application Fees, subcategory Escrow. Type of fee, base escrow fee, change of use site plan waiver application review. Amount $300.
Second.
Okay.
Trustee Cheney?
Yes.
Trustee Foster?
Yes.
Trustee McKnight?
Yes.
Trustee Flora?
Yes.
Mayor Newhart?
Yes.
That's all our addendums, right?
Yes. So, public comments on non-agenda items and final comments from the board. No comments, which means
I'm talked out.
we
We all are.
everyone
Yeah.
read beautifully.
Thank you.
So no executive session, so may I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Hallelujah. It's warm.
Thank you.
I saw that email about Denise taking that online. I
Yeah.
think that would be really great.
Okay, yeah, I was thinking that if she's gonna be managing that grant, then she could, I could forward those courses. Plus, that'll be really useful to her moving forward too.